So I would say participation is a big word, and we often abuse it somehow, and also understand it in very different ways. But we can say that someone participates in something by being just a mere spectator, but we can also mean much more by saying that someone is participating. So we can, for example, also mean that he or she takes an active part, so co-creates something, belongs to a group that is sustainable in a way. And for example, in Wrocław many years ago, when we started our adventure with European Capital of Culture, we were very much focused and we wanted very much to implement projects that foster participation, but in this deeper sense, that we wanted to engage people in cultural activities, but not only as spectators, because it's quite easy. You just, if you want spectators, you just use public money, fund big projects, bring big stars from abroad, and you will have spectators. The real challenge is to make people really involved, to convince them to get involved, especially I would say in Eastern and Central European countries, where we are somehow afraid, where we are not so encouraged to participate, when people think that I don't want to waste my time, or oh, I don't know much about it, so I cannot help. So we should somehow encourage these people that they can not only watch things, not only be spectators, but they can only co-create these things. We encourage people to become cultural managers, even not professional, but active. We encourage them to be artists, to perform by themselves. Even if it's not top level, then the most valuable thing is that they are involved. We also activated them, encouraged them in many other ways, and that was at the beginning. But then I would say that the story in Wrocław went in a bad direction, because the closer the year of 2016, the ECOC year was, the bigger the pressure was, and somehow all those ideas, all those ideals were put aside. And the current management of the European Capital of Culture in Wrocław decided just to pay a lot of money for these big international stars, to organize big events with for spectators, not for participants, so to speak. Yeah, and I very much hope, and I wish you not to follow this way. So it's maybe challenging, but it's much better, because then it makes the project sustainable. After the year after the 2019, if you invest in the people, then you will have something left after 2018, which will not happen in Wrocław, because after the year is finished, we'll be left with big debts and no participation, I would say. The idea was exactly as you say, that we have many different actors at the cultural scene. We have big organizations, big institutions, but we have also middle-sized NGOs, and we have also private people having great ideas. And the system that we currently have in Poland, and I guess it's in many countries, is that we have official public competitions, like tenders or other forms of selection processes, and those institutions or those bodies, entities that are professional, they have staff, they have people who are experts in winning this competition. Yeah, so they are getting all the grants usually. And if you are a private person, you don't have administration because you're a single person, you have your work, so you don't have so much time maybe, you are cut off from any source of funding, I would say, or at least it's very difficult. So we thought that we should open up another line, another option also for those middle-sized and small-scale projects. And we did it. We created something called microgrants, and there is a maximum threshold of money that you can get, and this threshold is very low. But why we did it? Because we experienced many situations when people applied or asked us for 50 euros, yeah, really, or 100 euro or 500 euro, because they had really nice projects, but really small for small audiences. They were very efficient, cost efficient, because there was small money, but quite big impact, even if this was 50 people, but you invested only 100 euro, for example. Yeah? So we decided that we should open a special line for them, as I said. And we did it, and it was very successful. It's all obviously it's about communication, so you have to communicate it so that everyone knows that there is this possibility. Because if it's hidden, then it definitely won't work. But if it's open and if you communicate it well, and if you encourage people that they can do great things using this money, then they apply, and they constantly, gradually, step by step, they were encouraged, and now they apply massively. Things went in bad direction, I would say, because there is only 1% of the total budget of European Capital of Culture in Wrocław earmarked for these initiatives. So you have like 1% for participatory projects, bottom-up projects, and 99% which goes for the projects which are selected by some curators or some institutions, yeah, in an institutionalized way. I think that in Wrocław we implement a completely different project that won the competition. Yeah, so the idea that was created in 2010 and 2011 is not there anymore. So it is a different project being implemented by different people with different motivations, and I think that this is wrong. And why it happened? Because it was not participatory enough. And people didn't feel that they co-own the project, so it was not their project in a certain sense, so they didn't defend the project and those ideas that were created in 2010-2011. Of course, we made some effort to build up this feeling of participation, this feeling of co-owning the project, but we didn't succeed, I must say. Yeah? So people submitted their proposals, people were somehow involved, but not to the extent that would make them defend these projects that were submitted 5 years ago nowadays. So in the end, the local, let's say, local decision makers and people who were at power at that time, so 2013, 2014, 2015, they now are implementing the project with their own hands or the hands of their colleagues, because it's a kind of acronym, I would say, as well in this context. And in this moment it's not about participation, it's not about the values that were at the beginning, but it is about the image. So in other words, at the Office of European Capital of Culture, no one cares about the quality or the real quality or the involvement of the people. But the main criteria of organizing things is the image and how it will impact the image of the mayor of the city, how it will contribute to the position of those people who are now forming the establishment. Yeah? So unfortunately, it's not anymore. It's not about culture anymore, I would say. It's more about politics at that time. Yeah?